What was your reaction to what we saw on screen?
Well, I thought on the substance, he won the debate. I'm old school. I'm old-fashioned. That's what matters to me. I thought the lies, I was taking notes about all the lies. I ran out of paper. Donald Trump, no accountability on those lies, talking down the American economy, talking down our democracy. That was alarming.
All right, folks, so we're going to react today to some of the hilarious MSNBC cope and meltdown over Biden's atrocious debate performance, and that'll be fun. But we also have to address the elephant in the room, which is, are the Democrats now going to replace Joe Biden? To be honest, this is something I've not really thought initially they were really going to do, but it's undeniable. At this point, after last night, you have to imagine this is a very real conversation within the Democrat circles, and you have people on MSNBC even saying it openly, so we'll start there. But first, be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. But even MSNBC is now openly saying, guys, the conversation's got to start. There is no way after last night Democrats can run this guy as their nominee. And check out this video of even MSNBC essentially disowning Joe Biden as their own Democrat candidate. Yes, it was really that bad. Take a listen. This is Nicole Wallace.
And there is a conversation happening inside Biden's circle, and certainly a much more frank conversation happening inside the Democratic coalition. And I think there will be stories of a lot of concern about the performance tonight. And I think when
you say conversations happening, what do you mean?
I think people are talking. I think the conversations range from whether he should be in this race tomorrow morning to what was wrong with him. I mean, he has a cold, and there is a conversation.
So they're now saying the quiet part out loud, because of course nobody can watch what we saw last night and not say, wow, they need to replace this guy. However, I also think it's important to hold people accountable, because if this is the opinion we're now going to hear on MSNBC, I would like to draw to attention Joe Scarboro of Morning Joe, who just a month ago, okay, check this out, said that Biden is better than ever. His critics are making things up and he's in perfect working and physical condition. So let's not forget that, okay? Will Morning Joe be retracting these statements? Probably not. He's just going to pretend like he never said them. But let's all play this so that way the people who were trying to run propaganda for Biden up until this point just can't be in denial anymore. Okay, check it out.
I think he's better than he's ever been.
He's better than he's ever been. This is what MSNBC was saying a month ago. Now, of course, because of what we saw, you can't deny it now. I mean, not even they're saying that, but this was really the take, okay?
Actually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years, and, you know, I don't know if people know this or not, Biden used to be a hothead. Sometimes that Irishman would get in front of the reasoning. Sometimes he would say things he didn't want to say.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
This is, and I don't really, you know what? I don't really care. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth.
Okay, all right, we're starting it. All right, we're live, we're rolling. Okay, all right, let's take a listen. Let's hear the take from Morning Joe. All right.
And F you if you can't handle the truth.
Okay, F me, okay.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years.
What?
All right, he asked us to roll the clip, so now we're playing it again. Okay, Morning Joe, you absolute propagandist and moron. After what you saw, you claim to know him personally. Oh, insider, so you've seen this for a couple months, according to you. Is this the best Biden we ever saw? And by proxy, are you going to say he won the debate? Are you going to go on TV this weekend and say Joe Biden had the best debate performance of his life? Because if not, either you were lying, you were running propaganda at the time, or you're just dumb and you were catastrophically wrong, because nobody even believed that at the time you said it. But again, just think it's important to hold MSNBC accountable. Last thing I want to play, and then we're going to talk seriously about, again, are they going to replace Biden? What would that look like? But first, let's just listen to Joy Reid, because I'm enjoying this, right? I'm enjoying listening to MSNBC have to deal with the reality of what just happened. Here's Joy Reid. By the way, interesting new haircut. Okay, let's take a listen.
That said, I too was on the phone throughout much of the debate with Obama world people, with Democrats, with people who are political operatives, with campaign operatives. My phone really never stopped buzzing throughout. And the universal reaction was somewhere approaching panic. The people who were texting with me were very concerned.
Which again confirms, if you watched last night's debate and were like, maybe I'm just being biased, is it really that bad? Yeah, it was really that bad. Because CNN saying it publicly, MSNBC saying it publicly, all these quote unquote journalists are getting text messages from people in Democrat world saying this is really going on. Yeah, this is really that bad.
About President Biden seeming extremely feeble, seeming extremely weak. And, you know, I'll just reiterate what I said earlier. President Biden had one job tonight. And it was one primary job. And yes, it was to litigate Donald Trump's, you know, criminality and all of those things. But he had to settle his own party. He needed to settle Democrats. Democrats, you know, they always talk about Democrats are bedwetters and Democrats are always panicking. Yes, Democrats are always panicking. They're always scared, right? They're always thinking they're going to lose. Like, Democrats are very pessimistic. This is just neurotic. Who they are. They're neurotic. But Joe Biden's job was to reassure them tonight. His job was to calm his party, to make them feel that, yes, I can do this. I have 4 more years in me. I have the ability and the stamina and the strength to do 4 more years. He did not do that. He did the opposite of that. He made them more panicked. The people who were texting me were even more panicked. They actually expected it to be better than it was. And now they're in I won't say a full-fledged panic, but it's getting there.
But by the way, the American people watched that debate as well, okay? I just love to hear it. It's music to my ears. Am I taking a victory lap? Absolutely, yes, I am. It's just amazing, okay? Because you contrast that with our own host, Joe, saying Joe Biden's in the best physical state he's ever been in, and now they're panicking and saying Joe Biden needs to be replaced. This is terrible. Now, with that said, like I kind of brought up in the beginning of the video, let's address it. Are they going to replace Joe Biden? Again, the reason I, for a long time, thought that they wouldn't really go through with it is because you think about it logically, people say, oh, they're going to replace Biden with Newsom. On paper, that's the best electoral decision. Of course, the only issue with that is they have a hierarchy problem. And there's a certain person named, of course, Kamala Harris sitting in the way. Because here's the issue that the Democrats have, and this is why even now still they might try to ride out with Biden is, yeah, they can try to nominate someone else, but if Joe Biden steps down, keep this in mind, the primary has already happened. He's already the presumptive nominee. If the sitting president steps down, especially when they've already won the primary, who's supposed to succeed him? It's not the governor of California. It's, of course, the vice president. That's strike number 1. There's just a hierarchy of command problem. But number 2 is that on top of that, they would be replacing quote unquote black woman Kamala Harris with white guy Gavin Newsom. Do you really believe that the Democrat base and the party is going to accept that? And if they do, how are they going to justify it to their own voters? Yes, we have this black woman who, by the way, in terms of merit and hierarchy, is supposed to take his position. He's the vice president, but we're going to let this white guy usurp the authority, usurp the merit there, and just take Biden's position undemocratically without having won the primary. And that's the other issue they have here, right? The primary is over. We're just going to mysteriously and undemocratically nominate him at the convention. Can they really get away with that? Is that going to be a good look? Assuming even Kamala Harris agrees to step out of the way. Because not only do you have to get Biden to agree to step out of the way, which I think is doable, but knowing how power hungry Kamala Harris is, we know she wants to be the president. Is she really going to step aside, especially when she doesn't have to? That's strike number 2. And then strike number 3, if Biden says tomorrow, I'm not running anymore, what do you do in terms of the convention, right? Democrats have this big procedural problem because Gavin Newsom's path to the nomination is obviously Biden needs to step out of the way, but then you're going to have all of these Biden delegates at the Democratic National Convention, and you also got to convince them all to vote for Gavin Newsom and not Kamala Harris, and you're going to have this huge drama of a contested convention. What do you even do procedurally in that situation? I have no idea. And so that's, of course, the problem that Democrats are going to have. It would be easy, of course, just say Biden stepping down, the VP is going to succeed him. That's what usually happens. But if they want to nominate Gavin Newsom, it's not as easy as just appointing him. They're going to run into all these problems, both optically, in terms of the public, but also procedurally in the inside of the party. How do you really make that work? And so on one hand, I look at it and I say, there's no way Democrats are just going to hand the election to Donald Trump by nominating Biden like this. But then on the other hand, I look at it and I say, if they want to replace Biden with Newsom, how exactly do they do that? Now, in fairness, I actually think at this point, if they do want to pick the safe option and just have Biden step down and Kamala run as the president, Gavin Newsom maybe as the vice president, before this was not a good idea because Kamala Harris is so unbelievably unlikable. And that's the real reason I think they've been so skeptical about making Biden step down is obviously for all of Biden's faults, he is still more electable than Kamala Harris. But I truly think after what we saw on Thursday night, that is no longer the case, okay? Because as unlikable and as annoying and as pretentious as Kamala Harris may be, at least she can complete a sentence. Joe Biden was completely inarticulate at the debate stage. So I don't know, maybe that's what they end up doing. But the good news for us in that scenario is, of course, Kamala Harris is not electable either. Yes, at this point, she might be a little bit better than Biden, but not by a lot. Okay, I think if Kamala's the nominee, we also are pretty big favorites to win that election. Obviously, Newsom would be the hardest candidate to run against, but how do they put him into position? I don't know. So that's why I look at it and say, on one hand, yes, it's got to be a serious conversation at this point about replacing Biden. Arguably, maybe that's why they did the debate so early, so they can give Biden a test run. And now that they saw the result, they're going to do this. But how are they going to go about it? And if they don't go the Kamala Harris route, which again, I think is also good news for us, we can beat Kamala Harris as well. If they want to run with Gavin, how exactly are they going to do that? And this is why I kind of have to look at it and say the Democrats are screwed either way. Because either they let Biden run in his current state, that is not a good choice, obviously, or they do the natural thing, which is he steps down and let Kamala do it. Kamala's not electable either. Or they go through this whole optical nightmare of contesting the convention, usurping Kamala Harris, who's a black woman, and they're the party of diversity, and how are they going to justify that for this white guy? And go through all that to maybe hope, hey, we got the most electable candidate. Either way, it's just not a good choice for the Democrats. Truly, if you wanted to replace Biden, you should have been talking about this about a year ago. You should have had someone actually run against him in the primary and figure that out or do this beforehand. But in many ways, again, I think it's a serious conversation. But if they want to go the Newsom route, it may be a little bit late. The DNC, regardless, I think is going to be completely full of drama. And so we'll just have to see what happens on that front. But obviously, this is something mainstream the Democratic Party's now talking about, and even liberal media is now talking about. With that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on all of this in the comment section down below. Do you think they're really going to replace Biden? I'd have to say at this point, it's probably a 40 to 50% chance at least. But if they replace Biden, how are they going to do that? Because again, Kamala Harris, that pesky bad VP pick they made in 2020 is kind of sitting in the way right now. And, I don't know how Democrats are going to go about that. But okay, let me know your thoughts. Be sure to leave a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you are new. And until next time, Alpha Moves Only. God bless. Have a very great rest of your day and peace.